What's going on, YouTube family? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky, and today we're going to be talking about how stolen cars are basically popping up everywhere. I wanted to make an update video because I've gotten a few of my subscribers, also dealers reaching out to me, getting a lot of title fraud and actual stolen vehicles on their lots. So I wanted to make another update video because I think it's been about 3 months since I made another one, and I wanted to give you guys a heads up of what's currently going on, especially because in my last video we talked about how you want to buy a used car, you don't want to buy a new car. So I don't want you guys going out there buying something that you think is stolen. Now, there are a bunch of different types of auto fraud that are out there. Obviously, there's the one that everybody knows, which is the rolling back of the miles. That's why I tell everybody, if you're looking at buying a car, go out and buy a handful of Carfaxes and auto checks just to double check the information, because you'll get a car that says it's got 60,000 miles, but then you get it in Carfax auto check, and then you find out it has 280 something thousand miles. They rolled it back. This is a very common practice. Sometimes they'll either roll it back, or some of these guys will actually switch the gauge cluster, which is kind of bad. But I'm going to show you how to spot that a little bit later when we actually bring out our scanner. Now, I'm here in the shop, like I said, to show you some of the cars in person. You can see my 6x6 build here. If you guys haven't watched that, it's really cool. We're building a Mercedes G6x6. It's absolutely nuts. This is going to be my new daily driver. So we built it pretty much from scratch. So if you watch my channel, you'll see the videos. But the first car I figured I would be kind of talking about is this Dodge Dart. Now, we got this Dart from a customer. He basically blew up the motor, didn't want to mess with it anymore. But even though this car is from somebody that we know that's been a previous customer, we wanted to double check and make sure that we're not going to have any issues with it. Now, if you can see behind me, the car's kind of torn apart and they're working on it and everything else like that. But I want to talk about VINs. Now, there are a few places of VIN numbers all over this car. There's obviously the door panel. There's one here on the dash. There's a few in other spots. Now, when you're looking at buying a new car, I highly recommend you learn of all the spots where the VINs are at. You can Google this online or go into the dealership, they'll tell you. But you always want to check a few spots, like right here on the firewall, there's a VIN number. And I'm actually going to flip the camera on and show you the ones that I'm talking about. So there's one here back on the firewall, which you can kind of see without light, but I want to show you the one that's very easy to spot. And this is the actual one on the dash. Now, Dodges have a really color unique pattern where it's white against black letters, which is kind of nice. But also, if you can see here on the corner, you can't see the rivets or anything else. Now, this is very big, especially when it comes to Dodge Challengers and Chargers, because a lot of these cars wind up doing VIN swaps, and that's a very common thing. Also, right here, you pull open the door. We have our VIN tag, which you can see the VIN number and everything else. You should be able to scan it, which I'm going to do now and show you on the side of the screen here what it comes up with. Now, if you look right here, the car says 60,000 miles. I think it's like 68,000 miles. So we went and we checked it actually with Carfax, and that came back right, which I'll post on the side here as well. But these are some of the subtle things that you can double check to make sure. Run it against your Carfax and also the vehicle itself. Now, we made sure that all the VIN numbers matched, and on top of that, we ran the Carfax to make sure that the mileage lined up. If you see it had 5,000 miles, then next year had 8,000, 10,000, 12,000 services in between, and the miles actually add up to 68,000, then it makes sense. But then also, a lot of people are getting these VIN swap cars, and like I said, it's very popular with Dodge Chargers and Challengers. These people buy them, you know, during the pandemic, they were making a bunch of money, now they're broke, and there's these people online, you can see these groups, I'll see if I can post one here on the right, you know, buy a car without a title. Now, there are thousands of these groups all across the United States. Now, I tell people, stay away. I know it seems tempting. You want to buy a brand new car for $15,000, but I'm telling you right now, a lot of these people have swapped the VINs and they're stolen. They'll give you a fake title, they'll give you some sort of bogus paperwork, and you could be driving this even if it's not stolen, and then the repo man finds it and takes it away from you. So don't ever buy a car without a title, especially when it's over a certain dollar amount. Walk into the DMV and make sure that everything works correctly. Now, with this particular car, once I got the title, I'm going to show you here, there is a title number. And then if you look right here below it, this is the actual number I got off of Carfax. Now, this is something that not a lot of people check. It'll let you know if the title number matches up with that. Now, back in the day, that's all we needed to make sure that the car was verified, because as a dealer, this is what we did. But now some of these scammers are getting so good that they're actually replicating that because they learned that problem to solve, basically. And so now we have to go even further with actually physically calling the DMV. The DMV doesn't make it easy for dealers to check up on stuff like this. And this is one of the things I hate, because I had a few dealers in Texas where they bought cars. They were trying to call, verify, they got the titles, everything looked good. But then when they went to register them, they found out that there was liens on them. One of the cars was like a VIN swap, so they got in trouble. And the DMV basically went after them, which is not cool, because if they're trying to figure out, hey, is this car legit, whatever else, there should be an easy phone number to call. But if anybody's ever worked with DMV, it's not. They're quick to blame you and probably try to fine you than actually help you out in a situation like this. So with our software, which I'll mention here in a little bit, Loanbridge, we're trying to get reports from not only the insurance bureau to find out if it's stolen, but also find out who the last lien holder is, because this is very important. Because if this guy hands me a title saying he owns this car, but I look at the last lien holder and I don't see a lien release and I don't see the title transfer from the lien holder to this one, this lets me know that this car is more likely stolen or has a fraudulent title. Now, I know that sounds weird when I hear people say, well, what do you mean? It's either stolen or it's a fraudulent title. You should know. When a fraudulent title, it's basically a clean car that they just made a duplicate of a title for it, a fake one, and now they're out trying to sell it. But with the stolen cars, they'll swap VINs and other things like that to try to trick people into buying it. They'll go out and buy, I've seen this too, they'll go to Copart or IAA, buy a burnt salvage one, put the tags on there, replate it, and then send it in there, and not knowing that people are buying a stolen car. Now, you've seen this all over the news with CarMax, Carvana, a few other dealerships losing millions of dollars every single year in these stolen cars. Now, this was like something that was very small that rarely happened in the auto industry. Me being a dealer for over 15 years, I maybe ran into it a handful of times, not that often. But in 2023 and 2024, and I think a little bit of 2022, we've seen it in record amounts because now people are getting desperate. They need money. How are they going to get this? They're probably going to start defrauding people, unfortunately, to get that type of capital. Now, it's very heartbreaking because I've seen thousands of people lose all their money because if it's stolen, and even though I try to do my due diligence and prove, hey, look, you know what? I tried my best to find out if this car was stolen or not. I double checked and I thought it was in the clear, but you wind up it's stolen, you lose that car. That's right. If you spent all this money, they will take the car. Now, the last story that I saw about Carvana, the guy actually got his money back fairly quickly. But I know 3 or 4 people that are still in lawsuits with Carvana to get their money back. They wanted to just give them just a little bit of money back to pay off their loans, but not the original sales price. And so they're fighting these guys because just imagine you buy a brand new car from a dealership or somebody else and you think everything is fine. And then one day the feds show up to your house and saying, this car's stolen, you need to give it to me. And that's what happened to a lot of people. I made that last video talking about how you want to go out and buy used cars to save money because I don't see the new car market going up, I see it going down, so I don't want to see you guys being upside down negative in a lot of cars. But unfortunately, with these type of situations, this is what we have to look forward to. Now, there's another thing I'm going to show you right now. You should always check to make sure that you don't fall trick to some of these frauds. Now, they always do the VIN swaps and they do the plates and the stickers, but it's very hard to VIN swap all of the electronics in the car. So I'm going to show you a few cars right now that we're going to do. Now, this will be our guinea pig today. This is a 2024 Subaru. So what I do is, like I said, we're going to check the VIN number up front here. See that the last 4 is 3892. I always recommend checking the full VIN number, just not the last 4. We also check there 3892. So we're going to go ahead and sit in the car. We have our scanner hooked up. So right now we can see right here, read information, read VIN. Let me close the door so we can get some of that sun out of our way. And if you look right here, 3892. So we want to double check and make sure that all the VIN numbers match up with this actual screen because, like I said, there's a lot of people that unfortunately don't check this, and then when they come to find out they bought the car, the VIN numbers don't match out. So once I do that, I basically walk through the whole car and I double check all the places I could think of VIN numbers. A lot of cars have stickers, which we're going to pop the hood on this one to see if it has it. Now, if you look right here, sometimes people actually etch the VIN number in to see if that matches because that's a very expensive fix. We're going to go ahead and pop open the hood. And we're going to look for certain tags. Now, I don't know if this car is going to have it. I don't see it. But some cars actually have tags where they show that this is a new part. It's not aftermarket or anything else. There's a holographic sticker that's on it. Now, if it has those, they look like this just on the body panels. And when that's on there, that lets you know that the VIN number on that part is more than likely the part that's supposed to be on the real car. So one final piece of advice, even though we double check the VIN numbers on the car, we check the actual title number on Carfax and AutoCheck, and we actually scan the car to make sure that the VIN number matched with the PCM, TCM, and all the other modules inside the car, I still recommend going into your local DMV. And DMV will probably catch 99% of the problems by going in there. And if it doesn't, more than likely they will help you rectify this situation. But especially when you buy like expensive cars or exotic cars, This is where more of the VIN fraud is basically popping up. A lot of my exotic car lenders and leasing companies are telling me about record amounts of people trying to run cars. They run the numbers on them and they realize it's not a real VIN number. Now, even though the car actually pops up and it populates, if it doesn't give you the last four in a correct way, or it doesn't give you a breakdown of what model or what features it has, more than likely the VIN number is bogus. It's not working. It's probably the first 6 or 8 numbers or an actual number that tells you it is this car, but it won't give you the final because that's an actual production car where it'll tell you the features, the make, the model, all that other fun stuff. So please be very, very careful. If you purchase one of these cars and you don't do your due diligence, the state, the cops, or even the feds can take your car from you and you have no recourse. You could try to go back to the dealer, which most times they'll try to refund you, but even the dealer got screwed, so now they're gonna try to go back to the auction and get the money, which you obviously know the auction's not gonna wanna help. So this is a situation that's getting really out of control. Every week I get more and more messages of people telling me they've gotten stolen cars, they've gotten cars with fake VINs, fake titles, all kinds of crazy stuff. And I don't want to see you guys fall victim to it. So go out there, find a cheap car that you could drive or buy a used car so you could save some money, but do these things to make sure you protect yourself. But once again, I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you have any questions or you want me to make a video about something else, please leave them in the comment section below, and we'll see you guys next week.